A great day. I'm Jim, and welcome back to the channel. This is personal finance, and we're going to talk about bargaining and negotiating today in week number 7 of our personal finance course. So we're jumping in. I'm in my favorite place. This is my little playground, my studio at the house, and I think everything's working today, which is always nice. I'm going to remind you, if you look at the comments, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, uh, we're on we're on YouTube at my channel at Jim Munchback, and Munchback has an H on the end. So be sure to check that out. If you're a student in our course at the University of Houston, you know that you need to go to uhplaylist.com. That will take you to the playlist for this semester. So it's especially for this cohort for fall 2025. And as you know, as I've mentioned a couple of times, several times throughout this semester, this is my last semester to teach at the University of Houston before I take a 1 year sabbatical. So I'm getting a little bit, what's the word? It's kind of like spring fever, I guess. Looking forward to summer vacation, however you want to think about that. But we are in week 7. And the truth is, these semesters, the older you get, the faster they go. I don't know about you guys. When you're in school, sometimes the semesters seem to just poke along. But for me, it's going pretty fast. So we are in week 7. And so I'm going to try to uh, cover everything you need for this week's assignment. This week's assignment is really not difficult at all. But what I'm finding is the last week's assignment, that there are so many students who still are struggling with getting signed up at Right Capital. I say so many, I mean, it's half a dozen or so that sent me emails this morning and last night saying, hey, I can't access those 3 dots. And so I've done my best to try to get you guys all set squared away, but there's nothing like waiting until the last minute. So it is what it is. For those of you who have been doing your assignments early, gosh, how can I say how much I appreciate your commitment and your work ethic and your time management. I get all the time requests for this, that, and the other reason to have an extension on an assignment. And I generally say no, because I just feel like with the early assignments and the opportunity to do early assignments, you guys have all the opportunity in the world to get your assignments done early, as opposed to waiting till the last minute and then letting me know that you have this urgent thing like an LSAT test or whatever. I apologize if I sound a little grumpy, but yeah, it's your college degree from the Bauer College of Business, in my opinion, if you graduate with a very high GPA, uh, I hope it's because you earned it, not because you just bargained and negotiated with each of your professors for all the ways you could skate by. And so yeah. Anyway, if you can't tell, sometimes if you teach for a long time, you get kind of tired of excuses, and it's generally comes from a very small number of students. But that's kind of where I am right now. I'm thinking it's time to move on. So here we go. We're going to talk about bargaining and negotiating. Bargaining and negotiating. So if you've been turning your assignments in early all semester, you're probably noticing that you have accumulated quite a number of points. And what's going to happen at the end of the semester, Let me see if I can find early, just so we can highlight this one more time. If you are turning your assignments in early, then what you're going to find is that you're going to have more points than you need to earn an A. Now, you need 950 points to earn an A in this course. There's theoretically 1,000 points available, and you will find if you're turning your assignments in early that you're going to be way ahead, so you'll have more than 1,000 points. And what will happen is when we get to the last assignment, week 12, the blueprint for financial success, that's the assignment that we have made intentionally somewhat challenging, in that you have to turn in all of your spending data for the whole semester. You have to track that. You have to create kind of a graph to show where all of your spending went. That assignment, if you have earned an A already by the time that assignment comes, you don't have to do it. So again, I want to encourage you, turn your assignments in early. Don't wait till the last minute and then ask me for an extension. It's The answer is no. I don't do extensions. And I don't do extra assignments so that you can earn extra points. The early assignment is the gig, it's the game, it's the way that we attempt to give you the opportunity to demonstrate that you are responsible with your own grade. And it's, I think, a very effective tool. And I know it's true because for those of you who are taking advantage of it, you are my proof, and I appreciate you a lot. Thank you. Been doing this for, gosh, I started teaching in 2012, and I learned early on there's a big difference between an A student and a student like me. So I don't judge you if you're a student like me. I did everything in college the last minute, and I graduated with a whopping 2.82 GPA, and I was happy with that. I paid for my own college, and I worked full time. I got married. I had a baby while I was in college. My last semester in college, I took 21 hours because during college, I did not want to do summer school ever. And I didn't do summer school ever. But what that meant was, and my goal was to graduate in 4 years because I was paying for my own college. So I did that, but it required that I take 21 hours my last semester. It was brutal. I still have nightmares about that semester. So, all that to say, whatever your journey is as a student, I respect it. And I want you to know I do everything I can to help you earn an A in this course. But early assignments is the way that I try to incentivize you to have extra points along with feedback so that you never have to worry about getting deductions. So there you go. That's that. So back to bargaining and negotiating. So this is one of those lessons, one of those lectures, one of the assignments that you may be wondering, why is bargaining and negotiating part of personal finance? And that's a kind of a good observation, a good question. And I kind of wondered that too when the first semester I taught this course, we taught we used Dave Ramsey's curriculum. It was called College Foundations. And so he gathered, he created the scope and sequence and he put it all together, Dave Ramsey and his team. And bargaining and negotiating was one of the topics for one of the 12 weeks. And honestly, over the years, I got kind of tired of listening to Dave Ramsey because, you're listening to the same thing every semester. And I would try to watch the lectures so that I could be fresh when I taught the course to you each week. But over time, I just got really tired of listening to Dave. Anyway, there was one lecture that I never got tired of. I always appreciated and enjoyed Dave's enthusiasm about the topic of bargaining and negotiating. So if you've never listened to Dave or watched Dave Ramsey talk about bargaining and negotiating, I wish I could show you those videos, but they're obviously copyrighted and I don't have access to them. So, Dave, if you or someone on your team is listening, if you want to donate one of those videos of Dave talking about bargaining and negotiating, I would love to share it with my students. It's one of my favorite pieces of content ever. Dave loves to bargain and negotiate. And I think the reason that that's special to me is because I love to bargain and negotiate everything. And so in this lecture or this lesson, this assignment, uh, I'll tell you right now, the let's go to see if I can find the secret class collaboration. So it is 10:10 a.m. and I'm going to tell you what this week's secret class collaboration is. In fact, if you look in the comments, it's not that big of a secret. And this week's secret class collaboration uh, discussion or conversation, what I want you to talk about is this. So I'll tell you what this is. Just listen for a minute. So when I first taught this course, one of the things I did, like I said, I would listen to Dave Ramsey and his team and their lectures, and I would really kind of try to put myself in your shoes and add some value as I did the lecture each week. And so, one of the things I did in this lecture each week, and again, we were in person, so I wasn't looking at this little plastic camera, I was looking into your faces, and it was a much better experience, honestly. Than actually, I don't have to deal with traffic. Okay. So this experience is okay with me, but I do miss looking into your face and asking you questions and having real conversations. I don't know about you, but like I miss that. And but on the other hand, I don't want to fight traffic and I don't want to park on campus. So I'm like you. You know, the convenience of an asynchronous course is appealing in many ways, but nonetheless, this particular lecture, I always enjoyed having this conversation with the folks in the room. And it's kind of like this. I would say, I want you to imagine, and I want you to imagine today, right now, that we're in a room, all of us are together, and we're having a conversation about bargaining and negotiating. And I want you to think about this side of the room over here. This is the side I'm on. It's this side of the room. And this side of the room is where all of us who really like to bargain and negotiate. We're not afraid of it. We think it's fun. We basically would try to bargain and negotiate everything. Okay. This side of the room is the Dave Ramsey side of the room who love to bargain and negotiate everything. On this side of the room, on the other hand, I'm looking for a picture of my wife. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. So, uh, you can see I'm scrolling down and I'm looking for, I know I have it and it's in there somewhere, but yeah, I'm not going to find it. So, my wife, Connie, I introduced you to my wife, Connie, previously, but she's on that side of the room. And I want to know, which side of the room are you on? That side of the room where my wife is, she does not enjoy bargaining and negotiating. She finds it a little awkward, uncomfortable. She even feels like it's a little rude. She doesn't like to bargain and negotiate. So she's very thankful she's married to me because I bargain and negotiate everything, or at least I try to. So, what I want to know from you this week's secret class collaboration is, which side of the room are you on? Are you on that side of the room with me, where you love to bargain and negotiate everything? Or are you on that side of the room where you're like my wife, Connie, and so many other people, especially students that I've had the privilege of getting to know over the years. On that side of the room, if you're on that side of the room, then you don't love to bargain and negotiate. And so this lecture, this lesson, this week's assignment is especially for you. Now, if you're on this side of the room with me, then you can especially hopefully make an impact by sharing your story in this week's secret class collaboration by sharing some experience you've had in bargaining and negotiating, some success story maybe. You can share whatever you want to share about this, but you have to talk about which side of the room are you on. And if you're on this side of the room, I'm asking you to bring it. Okay, just talk about some way that you bargained or negotiated, something that demonstrates that you've got that thing that Dave Ramsey has, that I have. And lots of folks have it. Every single person listening right now, there is someone in your orbit, in your family, who is really good at bargaining and negotiating. And if you want to talk about that person, that's cool too. Just that's your secret class collaboration this week. So let's get back into uh, how to bargain and negotiate everything. Now, it's kind of funny. Bargaining and negotiating everything isn't realistic, right? There are some things you can't really bargain and negotiate. I don't know what they are, but one of the things we did in back in the day when we were all together is I would go to the whiteboard and I'd make a list and I would ask you to tell me all of the things that you could not bargain or negotiate. And so students would just make a long list. Like one of the things that was consistently on the list of things that you could not bargain or negotiate was groceries. Another thing was tuition. And then occasionally we would have your pay, your salary would students would tell me, yeah, you can't bargain and negotiate how much you get paid from your employer. So obviously, as we made that list of things that were not negotiable, that you could not bargain or negotiate, as we made that list on one side of the whiteboard, some students would be puzzled and they'd be like, wait, professor, no, I negotiate that all the time. And so what I discovered is most things you can bargain and negotiate in some way. Okay, so today I'm going to share the seven. I think I have my seven. Let's see if I think I have my list. I know it's in the comments. So if you look at the comments, I laid them all out. There we go. I've got a few up there. And these are just basic, these are things I call negotiating skills that I would encourage you to consider and maybe practice. Because the truth is, bargaining and negotiating, even if it's not something that you feel like you love doing, it is a skill. It is, and it can be learned. And that's my hope for you, is that you will consider learning a few of the basic skills related to bargaining and negotiating. And here's why. Here's why. This is why this assignment matters. I'm looking for, I don't have a list of, I should put together a nice screen show that says this is why it matters. But this is why it matters. And this is another conversation I would always have when I taught this topic and when we were all together. And it was this. This is sometimes the secret class collaboration question, but it was definitely always part of the conversation when I taught in person. And it's this. If you were to say, okay, for everyone on that side of the room, the side that I'm on, versus everyone on that side of the room. So we have two groups of people. And let's pretend that everyone makes the same amount of money. We all make $100,000 a year. And we all assume that we all spend our money on the same things. Now, obviously, if you're on my side of the room, I promise you, I don't spend as much on certain categories in my budget as you spend on that side of the room because I bargain and negotiate everything. So you may spend $48,000 on your car, but because I have certain skills and I'm a mechanic and I read in college the book The Millionaire Next Door. Actually, it was after college. It was after I graduated that book came out, but it's one of my favorite books of all time. If I haven't mentioned it yet, I would encourage you to read it. It's called The Millionaire Next Door, and it's a book about people who are millionaires. And back then, when that book was published, being a millionaire was a much, much bigger deal than it is today. So, my hope, my goal for this course is to teach you how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. That means you have a net worth of $1 million. After expenses or after debt, you have $1 million net worth. It doesn't mean you make $1 million a year. No. To be a millionaire, the technical definition, at least the one that I use in this course, what I'm absolutely positive that I can teach you how to do is to become a millionaire by the time you're 50, which means you have a net worth of $1 million. And today, that may sound like a big goal, but it's not. It was a much bigger goal when I was in college, but today $1 million is worth about $200,000 compared to when I was in college. And so by the time you're 50, most of you, $1 million is going to be worth a lot less than it is even today, not to mention when I was in college. So, all that to say, The Millionaire Next Door was written at a time when being a millionaire was quite an accomplishment. But the title of the book, The Millionaire Next Door, uh, referred to the fact that there are these people all around the country who you would think are just not wealthy. But in fact, they are wealthy. And the book then unpacks how those people, the millionaire next door, how they grew their wealth. And one of the big things in that book that was eye-opening to me, and I appreciated it a great deal because remember before college, I I went to trade school and I learned how to become a master mechanic, and that's how I paid for college. My dad was a mechanic, and I really wanted to leave home when I was very young. I left home right after I turned 17. In fact, I made all of the plans for leaving home when I was 16 years old. I had my own vehicle. I even had a motorcycle and a trailer to carry it from Lansing, Michigan to Denver, Colorado, where I attended Denver Automotive and Diesel College at age 17. All that to say, I was a mechanic. So when I read The Millionaire Next Door, like the number one thing they talked about was how the millionaire next door would buy used cars. Yeah, used cars, because the millionaire next door was smart enough to know that buying a new car every year, every other year, every 3 years, whatever, the depreciation on that car was expensive. And the truth is, today more than ever, being a consumer, being the person who is attracted to everything that everyone is trying to sell you, is very, very, very expensive, especially not especially, but for sure, that's true about automobiles, about cars. And so when I read that book, The Millionaire Next Door, I was I was attracted to it. It was the first time in my life that I realized that it's possible for me to become a millionaire. And I set in my mind the idea that, hey, according to this book, The Millionaire Next Door, because I can find a good deal on an automobile and spend a fraction of the money that all my friends were spending buying new vehicles, I would be that far ahead of the game. So, uh, that's that's that story takes me back to the question that I wanted to put before you. If you're on this side of the room, like me, bargaining and negotiating everything, versus folks on that side of the room who really don't bargain or negotiate anything, Remember, we all make $100,000 a year, and we all basically purchase the same things with our money. We have the same budget items, but we spend different amounts of money because folks on my side of the room, we bargain and negotiate. Like we buy used cars instead of new cars. We uh, shop around for our electric to get the lowest cost per kilowatt hour. We use coupons when we go to the store, the grocery store. We negotiate our job and our income with our boss, and we're pretty good at it because we're good at our job. So all these things come into play. And all I want you to think about for a minute is what's the difference? What's the percentage of benefit that we have on this side of the room? If we make $100,000 and we purchase all of the same items, what is the percentage that we're ahead of you on that side of the room? So if we make $100,000 and because we're really good at negotiating and bargaining, let's say that we save on that whole basket of goods that we purchase, services, products every year. Remember, we're all buying the same things, but we're negotiating, we're bargaining. What is the percentage of that $100,000 that we get in terms of a benefit? Is it 5%, 10%, 20%? I don't know the answer. There is no answer really, right? It's going to be different for every person. It's going to be different from year to year, but basically, I just want you to think about this whole idea of you choosing to bargain and negotiate with the mindset that everything is negotiable. Now, I'm not going to try to convince you that every single thing is negotiable, but most things are. And if that's true, what is the percentage out of $100,000 that you would attribute to the benefit of being someone who learns how to bargain and negotiate everything? What's that percentage? Let's just say it's 15%. That's $15,000. You're going to learn in a couple of weeks. We're going to talk about retirement planning. We have introduced you a little bit to the 7 baby steps that Dave Ramsey uses to teach people how to become wealthy. And one of those baby steps, one of the last ones, the 6th one, I believe it is to invest 15% of your income into retirement. And that seems really hard. I'm going to teach you in this semester how it's not hard at all. But in the context of today's lecture and this week's assignment, I want you to think about just this whole idea of the percentage of benefit that we have on this side of the room because we learn to bargain and negotiate pretty much everything. And there's definitely a benefit. I think we can all agree. So is it worth it for you? And if it is 15% and it is $100,000, we all make 100,000. Later in the semester, we're going to talk about that goal, that baby step of investing 15% of your income into retirement. And if that's all true, and if you do have a 15% benefit because you're really good at bargaining and negotiating, boom, you just freed up the resources that you need to hit that 6 baby step that Dave Ramsey, I think it's a great model, the 7 baby steps. And that one baby step always seems challenging to folks who are not doing it. But once you start doing it, and I'm going to teach you how to do it, you're going to find that's where the magic is. The whole idea of becoming a millionaire by the time you're 50, it happens quickly and easily because you do a few things that make a lot of sense, and that's one of them. And so this lecture, this idea, this topic, it's important because it can really help you move the needle in your financial life. So leave a comment. What do you think that percentage is? If we all make $100,000 and we all buy the same stuff, how much do we save on this side of the room versus that side of the room? What's your number? And if that's true, that's a percentage of 100 grand that is now freed up to do something with. What are you going to do with that freed up resource? I think investing in retirement is not a bad option. That's what I've done. And so we're going to talk more about that as the semester goes on. Okay, so before I forget, I'm going to talk a little bit about what you are going to do as far as your assignment. Let's see, do I see somewhere in there I think this is Mr. Ramit. Yes. So I met this guy, Ramit Sethi. It's always hard to say his name. Let's see, I have it. Let me go here and show you. So you're going to watch this video of Ramit, and he's going to talk about how to bargain and negotiate your salary. He and his Todd, I believe, is who he interviews. It's kind of a mock interview, but it's a really good. It's a great tool. I think it's great. And if you're listening, Ramit, I appreciate you. I met him at a conference. It was a FinCon financial conference back in the day. I used to go to them every year, and he was the one of the keynote speakers, and just a beautiful guy. He wrote a book called "I Will Teach You to Be Rich," and I thought that was just. And his website was "I Will Teach You to Be Rich." And his principles were very similar to what I teach in this course. In fact, I'm sure that I stole some of his content whenever I got the opportunity to teach this course. Honestly, I don't remember, but I do remember that I was just absolutely in alignment with what he was teaching. And he's obviously much better looking than me. I haven't seen him in a while. I hope he's doing great. If you're not, Ramit, if you're out there, if you're watching, I hope you're doing great. Thanks for contributing over the years, because this has been part of this assignment for, gosh, since 2012, and this may be the last time we teach this lesson. So I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope you'll learn a lot. I think it's a very valuable assignment. So don't forget. I'll be, by the way, after this semester is over, I'll be continuing to post financial literacy content on my channel at Jim Munchback. So if you want to stay connected, that's one way you can do it. Hit the subscribe button, like the video. Doesn't cost you anything to do that, and it really helps the channel. If you notice, we have like 300 subscribers, and I'm going to be working on improving that, increasing that, because my channel, I just started using my channel at Jim Munchback not even a year ago. So if you're not a subscriber and you're finding value in these videos, please help us out, and I'll continue to create content after this semester's over. But this is the last semester I'm going to teach before my sabbatical, and then I'm going to decide whether or not I'll come back and teach. So I think I'm going to tell you a story, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So let me just see, where can we go? I think I'm going to find the perfect screen to put this on. I think I will just go right here. Okay. This is how to bargain and negotiate. I'm going to tell you a story, and then we're going to be done. Oh, before I tell the story, though, I do want to mention that I got 2 emails from students who were not able to access this course in Canvas. I got 2 emails, 2 students. So I don't know if that means we have a problem across the board. I was able to access this course in Canvas, but if you're not, leave a comment. Let me know. Shoot me a text message if you want. I can't fix it. Um, we need to get with the Canvas team on, at U of H. They can fix it, but I'm not going to reach out to them because I don't have a problem. It's apparently on your end, and it doesn't sound like it's on everyone's end, but 2 students have emailed me. So I'm curious, are you able to access Canvas? If you are, leave a comment send me a text message or an email to let me know that you are able to access Canvas. And same thing, if you're not able, don't expect a reply. Just send me a message and let me know if you're not able to access this course in Canvas today. I don't know what the issue is. And again, I can't fix it. I'm not even going to try to fix it because I don't have a problem. But I'm very curious and I am eager to know if it's a widespread problem or if it's just a couple of students, and I don't know the answer to that. So here's my story about bargaining and negotiating, and then we'll wrap it up. So when I taught this course, I don't know if it was the first semester or the second semester, but there was one semester early on, and the weekend, it was Sunday actually, and I was thinking about this lecture, this lesson on bargaining and negotiating. And what happened was, I got an email or a text message from my sister-in-law. They had just bought some new furniture and they bought it at Ashley's Furniture. And so I jumped online at Ashley's Furniture because she said she got a really good deal, my sister-in-law, on her furniture. And we had needed furniture because I bargained and negotiated a great deal at some furniture liquidator, estate liquidator, and it was the most uncomfortable couch and love seat and ottoman I've ever owned. It was terrible. And we endured it for maybe 2 years. And then I was like, I had my mind and my heart set on buying leather. I wanted two full size couches and a love seat. So, and I wanted the couches to have electric recliner. So that's what I wanted. I had it in my mind, nice leather furniture with electric recliners. And our living room is set up in such a way that two large couches facing one another is the way we have it set up. And I like that. We have a big fireplace and a pretty big living room with a tall ceiling. Anyway, that's what I wanted. So I get online, go to Ashley Furniture, check it out, and they have everything I ever dreamed of right there uh, in their store. So I remember I told my wife, hey, let's go to Ashley Furniture because we both had agreed we needed some more furniture because we just hated what we had. So we get on my Goldwing motorcycle and we go to Ashley Furniture in right on I-45. We live in Friendswood. It's over on the other side of the highway. I think it was probably Webster or Clear Lake, probably Webster, right on the highway, Interstate 45. So we go over there and we look at this furniture and it's exactly what I wanted. And so I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it. It was almost $5,500. The salesman was writing up the order. And Ashley's Furniture has a great deal where they'll deliver it like the next day they were going to deliver it. So as he's writing it up, I asked him one question. And the reason I asked this one question is simply because I was about to teach this lecture, this lesson on bargaining and negotiating, and I was feeling kind of bad because I did zero of the things that I'm encouraging you to do when you make a big purchase. Like I did zero, nothing. I did no bargaining, no negotiating. And so the question I asked the salesman was me just trying to convince myself that I'm doing what I'm teaching you to do. And so I asked him, I said, hey, bro, if I were to shop around, would I find a better deal on this furniture somewhere else? And his answer was like a red flag. And you've heard the answer before. Like the guy, he had, I bless his heart, I'd hate to have his job. Here's why. And he was honest. I mean, he didn't lie to me. He said this. He said, "Let me tell you about Ashley Furniture and our service." And he went on and on about how it's going to be delivered tomorrow. It's white glove. They're gonna install it. They're gonna take away the old. He said they can even include a warranty, and he went on and on about how awesome this warranty was, so that if I damage the couches, these leather couches, or the love seat, they would fix them. So he went on and on, but he never, ever addressed my question, which was, if I shop around, am I going to get a better deal? So while he's doing the paperwork in the back room, I'm sitting on the couch at Ashley with my wife, enjoying this couch that we're going to be having delivered to our home, and I was pretty happy about it. But I was like, I'm just curious. So what I did on my phone, my iPhone, took out my iPhone, not this one, and I copied the actual name of the product, the brand, the name, and I pasted it into Google. And I found two places you could buy that exact same furniture. One was Ashley's Furniture, where I was, and the other one was, I can't remember the name of it, but it was an online supplier only. It was only direct online. It was exactly the same product. The same exact product. The price was less than half of what it was at Ashley's. And they had a white glove delivery service, which was free. And they had the warranty that Ashley's had, but instead of it being per item, Ashley's wanted $500 for each, or maybe it was $250 for each item. And there were two couches and a love seat. And they were going to charge that warranty for each item. But this online provider, they shipped it directly and they included the warranty, and it was per order. So I paid $250 on one order for two couches and one love seat. It was one whole order. The price was less than half. The cost for the warranty was a third of what Ashley's was. The delivery was free. What else? Because it was online at that time, there was no sales tax. So I was paying no sales tax. And remember, $5,500 is what Ashley's wanted. So I was paying sales tax 8.25% on $5,500. So I'm sitting on that couch thinking about this lecture on bargaining and negotiating and what that really means and how that really works and what that differential is for the people on this side of the room who, like me, or like I pretended to be, the guy who bargains and negotiates everything. What kind of differential is there? How much do we save? And I'm going, Dad gum, I'm glad I took my advice. And I had to go back to the dude and writing up the order. The only drawback, I did buy the online because it was less than half the price and all those other benefits. The whole total drive out was about a third of what I would have paid at Ashley's. Unbelievable, right? And I felt really bad for the salesman. And I told him, I said, dude, I hate if I had your job, that's so hard because you're trying to sell something that's available for a fraction of the price, the same exact product. I don't know how you do that. And I felt really bad for him. And I had like $36 in my motorcycle. I don't generally carry cash, but I always try to carry a little emergency cash in my motorcycle. I went and got all the cash I had. It was literally like 30 some dollars. And I gave it to the guy and I said, I like to give tips for good service. And I wish I had a couple $100. I would give you a couple $100, but this is all I have. I'm really sorry, but you can cancel our order because that's not a good deal and I'm not going to buy it. And I'm sorry for wasting your time. But I sat there on that couch with my iPhone. It was an iPhone 7 at the time. And I remember being shocked that I found that exact same product for that price. And so my hope, all that story is just to try to convince you that being on this side of the room makes a difference. And there are a few basic things you can do if you're just willing to learn a few basic things. And they're not rocket science. They're not always confrontational. In other words, what's awkward about bargaining and negotiating is telling someone, hey, that's just not good enough. That's what Dave Ramsey would say. It was his favorite thing to do in a negotiation is just to say, "That's not good enough." Another thing he would do, which I encourage you to practice, it's probably number 1 on my list, and that is just be quiet. Like, say, "That's just not good enough," and then shut up and just be quiet, because silence in negotiation is really golden. Timing is also hugely important. I I have so many stories about things that I've negotiated and bargained. Um, but one thing is cars and motorcycles. And I can just tell you, if you're buying from a dealer, timing makes a huge difference. And you'll see that on the screen, um, a car lot. But I promise you, if you ever want to buy a used vehicle, if you wait until the end of the month, you're going to get a better deal because the dealer wants to get it off their lot by the end of the month. If you wait until the end of the quarter, it's even more pressure on the dealer to get that, there you go, to get that vehicle off the lot. And if you wait until the very last day of the year, it's a smoking opportunity if you're in the market for a used car. So that's just one example. There are so many. I hope you will go and just practice bargaining and negotiating and come back and tell me your stories. So that's it. That's it. Let's just make sure we, yeah, I think that's it. We got the secret class collaboration. I look forward to seeing that. And don't forget, let me know if you're having trouble accessing Canvas. I want to know. And if you're able to access Canvas, I want to know. I appreciate it. You guys have a great week. Thanks for the work you do. I'm enjoying my last semester to teach before my 1 year sabbatical. And many of you are making that super fun and easy. And I appreciate that. And that's especially for those of you who are turning your assignments in early. And I like to leave us with the call to action for the rest of the semester. Do your assignment early. Don't send me emails asking for an extension. Don't send me emails asking for extra credit assignments, because the answer is no. If you have a death in the, I hate to say it that way, but there are times I give extensions, but they're not because you didn't manage your time well. Most things are coming, and you wait, and don't wait till the last minute and ask me if I'll give you an extension, because it's just not happening. Okay, I'm going to hit the finish button now, and I'll see you next week, and I'll see you in